The Fever will regret letting Grace Berger go. And I actually kind of agree with that. I kind of agree with that statement just because of who Grace Berger is and how Grace Berger plays as a player. I think the Fever will 100% regret letting Grace Berger go. And again, look, I trust Amber Cox. I trust Kelly Krauskopf. I trust Caitlin Clark, who requested bringing in Sydney Colson. But I still think it's going to be a bit of a regret. Watch this up. Why is there no gap between the end of college and WNBA draft like the men? Because the WNBA season's on during the summer and college season's overlapped. Funny, it would be if half of Europe moved to Dallas. The Liberty are already so stacked, it would be a joke. Yeah, the Liberty Lynx are stacked and the Fever are stacked. But I just think that Grace Berger was such an ideal future backup for Caitlin Clark. Because it's just the way basketball's going. I just think with the way basketball's going, it's just such a bad decision for me not going out of your way to try keeping Grace Berger. Because she was fine as a rookie. She was absolutely fine as a rookie. And if you just look at how she played in Turkey, she's a do-it-all player. She's not like true point guard. She's not like a shooting guard either. But she's somebody that can slide between both positions. She can pass the ball well. She can handle the ball really, really well. And she'd shoot like she was one of the best three-point shooters in the WNBA the previous season. I just think Christy Sides mismanaged her, just like I think she mismanaged Celeste Taylor. Like, I think if Christy Sides didn't mismanage Celeste Taylor, like, you've got a player that would have been on this current day roster. Like, I think Celeste Taylor's on the team right now. But, like, if you're looking at Grace Berger, obviously she did very, very little in year 2. She barely played, but I think that was more Christy Sides than it was Grace Berger problem. But if you're just looking at some of the things that she did, especially earlier on in the year, she's finishing well. She didn't get into enough of a rhythm to shoot well from the mid-range, but like she has that mid-range pull-up that we saw that was there at Indiana, and she's big. She's big. She can guard. She can run the 1. She can run the 2. And she just has an ability. She has this ability to push the floor and create that teams just don't really have. Or the Fever doesn't really have now with Sydney Colson. And like Sydney Colson is going to be a better option than Grace Berger for this year. Like, I actually fully believe that. Sydney Colson's going to be a better option than Grace Berger if we're talking about 2025. But just long-term, Grace Berger she can go get you a bucket. She can shoot the 3. She can play the big thing with her is I think she can play beside Caitlin Clark and as a replacement for Caitlin Clark. The problem is that I don't know how Sydney Colson plays with Caitlin Clark. Like, Sydney Colson is just like Erica Wheeler-esque. Erica Wheeler 2.0. And we even saw, if we're looking later on in the year, when she came up in that last game against Washington, she controlled the tempo. She controlled the 1 with Caitlin Clark on the bench in the second half. Like, I genuinely do think when it comes to Grace Berger that she is just that. She's just that type of player that just could fit in. And hard to find minutes when Caitlin Clark plays 33 minutes per game. I think she can play with Clark. And I don't think Caitlin Clark playing 35 minutes per game bodes well for winning a title either. Like, you want to peak at the right time. There's no month-long Olympic break this year. And I know she had a full off-season. But as great as she was playing coming up to the Olympic break, you could see how much her shot was struggling. You could see how much her shot struggled in coming up to the Olympic break. So it's just one of those things that who's Grace Berger's NBA comp? I don't know. Like, who's a solid backup point guard at 6'5"? That's kind of what you're getting with Grace Berger. And it's just, like, if you're looking at the team, like, I think she makes the Lynx team, by the way. I think she makes the Lynx roster. But if you're looking at the Fever's team, I just prefer her to Colson. I just don't. I get bringing in Colson for vibes, but you're paying her a non-minimum contract and a non-minimum guaranteed contract. And I get it with Grace Berger's rookie scale deal constantly going up. You were going to almost have to keep her for this year and exercise the 4th-year option potentially. But I just liked how she played as a rookie. And I think she'll be a good backup for Courtney Williams. Like I just think that it's the going for Sydney Colson is like an old WNBA decision. Like, it's one of those, we don't think Leonie Fibic is good enough because she doesn't really play this. She doesn't really play well as a post player type mentality. We're in win now mentality, and Sid is a better option. We can get Grace later. But like, she's a better option for this season. I still don't know. I don't know. You can't make entirely win now moves. Like, you can't make every single move not even just win now, win one season away. Especially when you've got Grace Berger on a 2 more year of a rookie deal. So you could have gotten her for cheap in that 4th year. Especially because with the new CBA, she was on a cost-controlled contract. And you could have cost-controlled her. And then maybe for 2026, you've got the best backup point guard in the WNBA. Like, that's just the way I'm looking at it. Instead of just signing another vet when you've already got DeWanna Bonner, you've already got Natasha Howard, you've already brought in Sophie Cunningham. Like, I understand what the Fever are doing. Like, I understand what the Fever are doing when it comes to Grace Berger. What the Fever are doing in general. What the Fever are doing is they are surrounding Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Caitlin Clark and Lexi Hull with solely just glue players. So not glue players, like vets. They're surrounding them with vets. And if you are a young player, unless your name's Michaela Timpson probably, unless you were a draftee, if you were a young player, they just got rid of you. Because they only really want their stars, vets, and whoever the draftee is. I just don't know how long-term that's going to work. But again, team building is interesting because never in sports has there been a great reset like 2026. Never in sports has everybody been a free agent at the one time. So I'm not going to question that because, well, to be honest, you can question what specific teams are doing because nobody knows what's going to happen in the offseason, which means like we won't know until next year who's wrong or who's right. Because this is completely unprecedented, and all GMs can do is try to predict what's going to happen. And I just think that getting rid of Grace is going to be I think it might be outside of the Temi situation, but also with Temi, there's a Eurobasket situation. But yeah, so I think Grace Berger is something that they might end up regretting.